Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroladaOfficial, and today my guest is the scholar, astrologer, ancient wizard, Rumen Kolev, who will be talking to us about the primal sexual drive, the planets Venus and Mars, and how they were reflected in the stars, in the constellations, how to find this, how to find that in the cosmos, in the sky, and how to apply to our life. Hello, Rumen.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Lada.
People have been looking forward to your tutorials because your views are unique. I want to share that Rumen does astrology like no one else in the world because he is probably the only astrologer in the world. He knows ancient languages like Akkadian, Babylonian, Egyptian, Arabic, ancient Arabic, Latin, and he's translating sources of astrology that no one has had access to for hundreds of thousands of years. And he's reviving this old astrology of the true seers, which he is offering now to do for our viewers a series of such interviews talking about the mythology, because all mythologies of the ancient world were actually connected to astrology. That's how they all came up to the constellations, and not just the mythology, but how we can see this in our life and apply it. So, Rumen, you have the word. I'm so excited. By the way, this is just a tiny fraction of his knowledge, which he will be offering on March the 2nd, a live webinar about 3+ hours, way more in depth about the cycle of Venus and Mars, looking at it through ancient knowledge, through ancient astrology, and how to apply it in the everyday practical astrological use. If anyone would want to join this webinar, if anyone is a fan of Rumen Kolev's work, which every astrologer should be, because you learned something you've never heard before that was known to our ancestors, but not to us anymore, and it's rediscovered. I'll put the link below. You can watch it live, or you can watch it after that, the recording. It's forever yours. But now I'm looking forward to hear what you have prepared for us, Rumen.
Hello, Lada. Hello, everybody. So, what we will be doing in this webinar will be something that I was thinking for a long time, and now there is enough material heaped up, which we can analyze and think about and also put in our practice. And the idea is that basically what I believe is that the mythology, the myths, they are coming from the sky, from phenomena on the sky. The meaning of the planets, which planet, what kind of influence has, and what kind of principle or divinity in the world reveals, I believe is absolutely also coming from observation of the sky in these very, very ancient times. And this is the way that they are doing this, that they were doing this in these ancient times, was observation plus this thinking in analogy. In when they look at a star or a planet which is a red, then click everything which is red and the emotions which the red color brings is revealing this principle. And the same with all other colors. And in this way, they figured out the planets, which principle is every planet. and they named this divinity, like anthropological principle in a human form, in a human shape, because these principles, who are in the basis of the whole cosmos, of the whole world, they are everywhere, everywhere. Nothing can exist without these basic principles in this thing, inside the texture of this creature. Will this be creature, or will this be a rock or a mineral or anything?
Person,
These
yeah.
principles are there. Otherwise, nothing can exist. And
Can I
and
add
this
something? Because you said it's only through analogy, but I'm a student of anthroposophy, and the great initiate Rudolf Steiner said that consciousness thousands of years ago was very different. And people, when they would look at the skies, not only would they logically connect the dots, but they had direct psychic experiences of those energies streaming from different constellations and stars, and they experienced them within themselves through feelings and archetypes and actual picture, which would be like a ancient clairvoyant vision. And he says they appear to them. They would not just look and see, oh, a star. They would actually experience that. If they were looking at the constellation of Leo, that's how he describes it, because he could enter into the body of someone from ancient times and see their consciousness. He said the seers, they would look up and they would actually experience a lion within themselves. It's not like the stars look like lion or anything. They would feel the forces of a lion, and that's how they also gave those the meanings of the constellations, the stars. So I think it was observation, analogy, but also true clairvoyant abilities that we have lost now. Sorry, I just wanted to add something that I thought you might find interesting.
Oh yes, yes. This this kind of mental universe that the modern people are stuck. This is completely different story from the ancient times. In ancient times, the world was magical. There were divinities and there was science from everywhere, and the life of these people had a deep meaning, because they were experiencing this principle and this action of the divinities in their very own life, in a different settings, in different events, everything. The world was inhabited with all kinds of spirits and divinities, and everything was a sign of a divinity or of something spiritual. And many of these people, they of course could communicate directly with these divinities, and this was called theophany. Theophany is a revealing of a god or a goddess to someone. Okay, this is like, okay, I'm sitting here and boom, Apollo is materializing in some way, or Aphrodite, Athena, and there are examples. There are stories, especially in the Hellenistic tradition, because people in the Hellenistic tradition were writing everything without worry, without any taboos. While in Mesopotamia, this knowledge was sacred and secret, and it was like from father to son in the priest tradition, and they were not writing much. When they started writing down what they knew, then this was the end of their civilization. This was very, very near the end of their civilization.
Wow.
So it is absolutely true that in ancient times, people had different kind of perception. They were much more spiritual. They were true believers in God. They were true believers, not mental,
They were
but their
experiencing
heart.
of that, not believers, experiencers directly.
Yes, and yeah, this is absolutely true. And when they looked at the sky, they could communicate directly. They could see everything, and they had messages from the divine world. And some of these stories are recorded even in Mesopotamia, and then later in the Hellenistic tradition. So it is connected everything. Also, these myths which they saw in the sky, this is the source of the myths, the phenomena on the sky. That's why the myths of different cultures are so similar. Like, for example, why the morning Venus in Mesopotamia is the divinity of war, of success, which is Ishtar of Akkad, the morning Venus. And why in Mexico, in their culture, the Maya, which were not connected with Sumer, why in the Maya this morning Venus had the same meaning? How is this possible when they didn't have connection? Well, this is very, very possible. First, because some of them, at least these most advanced spiritual people, they are talked, or they were talked to directly from the divinity, first. And second, because they observed the sky, and by analogy, they were taking the meaning of the different phenomena. Like the morning Venus, why should the morning Venus be connected with war, with business, with success, with action, with wisdom? Because what happens in the morning, when we think what happens in the morning, this is the activity of the morning Venus. This is the army is lining up, going to war, or the businessman is going out to make some money, to make some good business. The daytime activity. That's why. And the same for the evening Venus. So my idea, what I'm thinking about, is about a series of webinars about connecting concrete myths with concrete phenomena on the sky, and then applying this to charts. So the idea is, when we look at a chart, the idea is to see which myths are present in this concrete chart. And then we can also figure out exactly on which page and even on which word is this person in this lifetime.
Well, what do you mean on which page?
Like, because the myth is a story between divinities, or between divinities and humans, and this story has a fabula. This story has development. It has different events. So this is a story which develops in time, and it has a beginning. It has a beginning, then it has some development, some events, and then it has an end. So this is a story, a whole story, and we can see exactly where in the story is the person. For example, okay, we will start. We'll start when was that, Lada?
March.
With the first webinar.
March 2nd.
March 2nd, yeah. March 2nd, God willing, we will start with myths about Mars and Venus. and we will draw on the myth of Nergal and Ereshkigal. And then this is a myth which is absolutely captivating, interesting, and it is a long story, and we will talk about this now a little. And we will see exactly how this myths plays out on the sky and how we can see in the chart where is this myth, is this valid, and where is the person in this myth. And then we will talk also about some myths about Aphrodite and Ares, or in the Roman mythology, Venus and Mars. From the Hellenistic tradition, we'll talk about such myths, which basically will reveal in the planets Mars and Venus. And also we may talk also about some other myths, but by far we will develop the myth of Nergal and Ereshkigal, of Aphrodite and Ares, of Pan and the Gorgona, which all of them reveal in Mars and Venus. So this is about the basic sexual drive. Nergal and Ereshkigal. These are the principles in Mesopotamia of the basic sexual drive of the male and the female.
And they relate to Mars and Venus. Nergal is Mars, Ereshkigal is Venus.
Yes, but they are revealing, like Ereshkigal is who is Ereshkigal, who is Nergal in the Mesopotamian pantheon. Nergal, basically, we can think about Nergal as Mars. Ereshkigal is a little bit more complex because Ereshkigal is revealing in Venus, but only when Venus is invisible.
Oh, Venus, yeah.
Because Ereshkigal is the queen of the underworld, the world of the dead spirits. And Ereshkigal means the queen of the great earth. By Eresh means queen, Ki means earth, and Gal means great. So Eresh Ki Gal means the queen of the great earth. So which is this great earth? This great earth is the kingdom of the underworld of the dead spirits of the dead people. Also, it was the invisible Venus. In the invisible Venus is revealing Ereshkigal, because the invisibility of a planet correlates to their symbolic death. Of the principle of the planet. Of course, it can never die, but this is symbolic that a cycle is finished when a planet is conjunct with the sun. The cycle of this planet, the life cycle of this principle, is to end, and then this spirit has a reorganizing and reporting to the big boss, Zeus or Marduk or Anu, God Almighty, reporting, reorganizing, and paying what has to be paid in order to finish this cycle and start a new cycle on clear. So when a planet is invisible, this planet is symbolically in the underworld, and Ereshkigal is in the underworld. She is the queen of the underworld, and she is the sister of Ishtar, a sister. So that's why when Venus becomes invisible, this is Ishtar going to the underworld, which all we know this fascinating myth about Ishtar going to the underworld, which is when Venus is invisible. And in this case, when Ishtar goes to the underworld, in this myth about Ishtar in the underworld, it is described her meeting with Ereshkigal and what happens and this and that. However, Ereshkigal is a sister of Ishtar. And actually, when Ishtar goes to the underworld and meets Ereshkigal, this Ereshkigal is actually herself,
Yeah.
but in a different kind of situation and different kind of shape. We should not forget that they are sisters, so they are very, very connected. So Venus, invisible, is Ereshkigal. And
So this would apply if people are listening and they're trying to figure out how does apply to my life, especially for people who are born with Venus conjunct Sun, basically.
oh yes, yes. Well, this
For some in their progress chart is having Venus invisible as well.
yes.
So,
Well, this is a very long topic and very fascinating. I think we have talked about this in some webinars. Of course, this is without limit, the interpretation and the new insights which we can get from every myth like this. But to go back to Nergal and Ereshkigal, the myth is very, very interesting. It's like there is some confrontation between Ereshkigal and Nergal, because Nergal is a very self-centered, very proud guy, and he does not respect anyone, least Ereshkigal or whoever, probably with the exception of Anu or Marduk, the big boss. So because Nergal does not show respect to Ereshkigal, he is ordered by the big boss Anu to go to the underworld and excuse himself. So this is the first meeting. I will tell about this in details in the webinar, but now just to get some kind of understanding what is happening here. Like the first meeting between Nergal and Ereshkigal is when he is sent there to excuse himself for his disrespect. So Enki is the priest of the cosmos. He knows everything, and he can find solution to anything. So Enki tells him how he should behave there, and he tells him many things. You should not do this. You should not do that in this world. This. But most important, Nergal, you should not touch Ereshkigal, and you should not make love to her. Yes, this is the most important that Enki, the priest of the world, told Nergal. But guess what? Do you think Nergal will listen?
uh-huh.
So yes, so you know how the story goes. Nergal looked at Ereshkigal. Ereshkigal was took a shower and put some perfumes and everything. And when Nergal saw her, the passion, fired up in his heart, and so on. They spent 7 nights and 6 days together in the bed in a passionate love. However, Lala, Nergal, after this, escaped. He left her. He left her and went back to his sky world with the other sky gods. So this was the first meeting, but then guess what happened? He was compelled to go back. And then he remained there forever. So the second time when he went to meet Ereshkigal, he was compelled to stay there forever and to become the king of the underworld. So this is the story. Ereshkigal and Nergal. They meet 2 times. The first time there is some misunderstanding, confrontation maybe.
But very passionate as well. Intense.
Yes. Oh yeah. So then he escaped. He spent some time in the sky, and there was a very interesting story how Ereshkigal found him. Because Enki knew that Ereshkigal, after this passionate 7 nights and 6 days, will look for him. So Enki changed the look of Nergal. He made him look a different way.
I know many guys who probably recognize themselves in this myth.
But Ereshkigal found him. So this is Ereshkigal and Nergal. This story takes shape in the underworld, which is in the icy, like straight below our feet, in the deep, very, very huge world of the unseen, of the spirits of the unseen ways. There are different things there. And this is the subconscious. This is the unconscious. So this meeting of passionate love, which is more like a carnal love, like physical love, sexual love, actually. Nergal and Ereshkigal, with their passionate sexual love, this happens in the underworld. And what this means? This means many things. One is that this is the subconscious, that this is the root of the subconscious, of the unconscious. Where are this sexual drive? This sexual drive is there, in the root of the subconscious. And Ereshkigal is like the female sexual drive, and Nergal is the male sexual drive. So this is actually the basic level of the libido, the basic level of this attraction between the two principles of the world, day and night, male and female, Zeus and Hera. So this is at the basis, because there are a lot of levels of this unity, and at the very base is this very basic sexual drive, which can develop, of course, in many unharmonious shapes. and it can develop also in harmonious shapes. But without this basic sexual drive, the world basically will have difficulty existing.
No children.
Yes, yes, and many, and a lot of neurogens and psychology problems and all of this. So this is this is one thing, because this happens in the unseen, in the underworld. This corresponds to the unconscious, to the deep unconscious. Second thing, because this meeting happens again in the underworld, this means that on the sky, this will correspond to invisible Venus and at the same time invisible Mars.
I was born with exactly this. Mars, Venus conjunct Sun, they're both invisible at the bottom of the horoscope. So that's my life.
I know this, Lada. I know this. Yes, so you're there.
In the underworld. I pretty much recognize myself in this story a lot, elements of it.
So let's think about this. Ereshkigal is Venus invisible. Then when Mars becomes invisible not at the same time, but while Venus is invisible, she is Ereshkigal. And then if in this period Mars also becomes invisible, boom, this is the meeting. They are both invisible and they are both in the underworld, Nergal and Ereshkigal. And guess what they are doing? So this is however very, very interesting. This meeting can happen two times different astronomical conditions. Venus and Mars can be both invisible. So one time is when Venus is between the Sun and the Earth, and Mars is on the other side, behind the Sun. And the other meeting is when Venus and Mars are both behind the Sun. So these are actually corresponding to the two meetings between Nergal and Ereshkigal. And and very, very interesting, we can see a cycle. We can see a cycle of about 6 years and 5 months, around 6 years and a little bit less than half a year. This is the cycle of these meetings, and both meetings have this cycle. It also depends on the geographical latitude. It also depends on the on other things, and but basically this is like 6.5 years, and there is a bigger cycle of 32 years, and there is a pentagram of these meetings. And pentagram.
Oh, so they meet every
at five different places.
Wow.
Just like the pentagram of Venus, the pentagram of the invisible Mars and Venus is also a pentagram at 5 different locations, which make a pentagram.
Mars conjunction happens over 32 years at 5 different places under the shape of a pentagram.
Yes, this phenomena, when both Venus and Mars are invisible, has a period of about 6 years and something, and then a bigger period of 32, and still higher periods, bigger periods. The basic one is 6 years and 5 months. And this meeting happens in 5 different places. And then it repeats. In 32 years, all this pentagram repeats.
Mhm.
So for the, let's see, for the last 32 years, we have this meeting in Gemini, in Leo, in these are the Babylonian sides, in Capricorn, in Pisces, and in Libra.
Can you give us
And
the
this is,
tropical as well? So people who
pardon?
can you give us also the tropical positions for people who are Western using the tropical? What would be?
Oh, well, let's see. The tropical will be again Gemini. Then it will be, let's see, this will be like probably Virgo. And then it will again Libra. And then let's see here, this will be okay. This will be probably Aquarius, the other one, but I will give here the coordinates. I think no, here is only in the Babylonian zodiac, but yeah, we can figure out exactly by the degrees and by everything where this happens. Yes, I see here the 2 different meetings. So it's like the cycle. Okay, it's like everything starts with the first meeting, and then everything ends with the second meeting. The story ends with the second meeting, and the beginning. So this takes 6 years and a half, the story to develop. And these 2 conjunctions of Venus and Mars being invisible, which depends on the geographical latitude too. So these meetings, they are like the main event in the star. So when we look at the chart, we first must look at under which meeting is this birth happening. Because okay, we have, let's say, the first meeting, let's say, is happening now, today. So in the next 6.5 years, the people born in these years will be under this meeting.
Mhm.
And it depends where this meeting happens. If this meeting happens in the constellation Leo, because here we talk about mythology, about images on the sky, and the images on the sky with the fixed stars, they are the bodies of the divinities.
Can you share your screen to show us, or you can't?
I have not made it completely this PDF, but let me see if I can find something more complete to show you. Let's see here. Okay, for example, let me go again, share my screen. I will show you a pentagram of the first meeting. Do you see?
Yes.
So these are the places in the Babylonian zodiac where these 5 meetings happen, and you can see them. So this depends whether this happens in Leo, which, you know, this is like the where is this meeting happening? Is this happening in a nice house mansion somewhere with nice perfumes, or is this happening in some squalid quarter of some horrible castle, you know, where masochistic drives are prevailing? So, for example, Capricorn, this can be this, some Gothic castle with some crazy kind of libido drives. So this, yeah, this can be Capricorn. Okay, Pisces. Pisces is, Pisces is very loving, very sexual, very tender. Or Leo, which is light, which is fashion, which is brightness, and all these high emotions, and all these things. And this pentagram moves too. It moves with time. Uh, this this goes around for 32 years, and then it moves. So this is what we will be talking about, and this is what you just saw was the first meeting. I think more important is the second meeting.
So the first meeting was all those dates that you were giving, say someone is born, because one was in 1956 or something, the other one 1985. So if you're born between the, say you're born in early 80s, you're in this one that's on the Capricorn. So you're born 81.
Yes, you just fall like
Years.
here,
Years.
Capricorn. The meeting in Capricorn is happening in 1966, the 26th of January. But don't lose from sight that this depends also on the geographical latitude. So this is different for different latitudes. This here, what you saw, is for latitude 43 north.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how, and then we can look also at the period when a person is born, where happened the first meeting, where will happen the second meeting. If a person is born between them, of course, we will see between which, actually. Is he born between the first or the second, or between the second and the first? And how exactly is the chart of the person relating to this meeting? So there are a lot of details here, but this is absolutely fascinating.
Can you give an example? Can you give a quick example? I'm very interested.
I must order them. I can give you an example with me. I'm Leo meeting Lada. So all this brightness, light, and high ideals and are there. Leo,
But
right?
you were born under the Leo, between the Leo conjunction and the.
Yes.
You're born,
yes.
okay, you're born after the Leo conjunction in that cycle.
Yes. Yes. I am born after the Leo conjunction, but I will, when I order these examples, then we can talk in detail about this, and we may look also at other charts, maybe at your chart.
Or participants, whoever comes, we can pull out their charts and look as well.
Because you have this. You are just.
I think I'm on the other meeting. I think I'm on the other meeting.
On the final meeting, the
Final meeting.
final meeting. That's it.
I've drawn back and kidnapped my husband into my underworld with me.
So you see, this is this developing interaction, because the myths are interaction between this principle, between these divinities. But this interaction happens also in the hearts and the consciousness and the subconsciousness of every human being. The myths are playing out in every human being. But in some are one myths and in other another myths. And we can see this in the chart. We can see which myths are the most important for the person. This myth about Ereshkigal and Nergal, of course, is extremely important for people who are born exactly when both are invisible. This is probably one of the most important myths for such people. And this is this unity between the male and the female. And this story, how it develops, how this plays out, how it starts and how it develops, and to reach its final condition when this, like this connection, they are unified forever. Mm-hmm. But this is not without contradiction. This is not without events on the sky, in the underworld. So this is a whole story which develops until finds its final state. And you are in such a final state because you are born when Venus and Mars are invisible. So this is absolutely strong for you. So
that would translate that I end up being with someone for life.
Yes.
That's how I feel. If it's God's will.
So this is finding out these myths on the sky and then finding them out also on the charts and just determining where exactly is the person. And as this is true for Ereshkigal and Nergal myth, there are so many myths. There are hundreds, thousands of myths, both from Mesopotamia, from ancient Greece, and I have had insights about some of these myths. We have talked about Apollo and Hermes. This was the first myth which actually we analyzed and talked about, how Hermes is stealing the cows of Poland, what this means, and how we can find this on the sky, and so on. This was the first one. Then we talked about the Gorgona and Poseidon, and we'll talk about this more. We'll talk more about this. And if we have to translate the myth of Nergal and Ereshkigal in the Greek mythology, this should be Pan and Gorgon. Pan is this divinity in the Hellenistic culture, which is for the basic sexual drive in the male basic sexual drive, Pan. And Gorgona, I think, is correlated with the female basic sexual drive. And also there are myths about Mars and Venus, about Ares and Aphrodite, which are from the Hellenistic tradition, which play out in the sky. This this story about Ares and Aphrodite being secret lovers, and then one day Hephaestus heard about this from the sun, and then he goes to catch them, and what happens next? And this is another myth between Mars and Venus, which we can probably talk about too. And what we have done with Apollo and Hermes, with Ereshkigal and Nergal, we can do with any myth, And if a myth is including several divinities, then these several divinities correspond to several peculiar heliacal phases of these planets and their interactions. And not only heliacal phases, maybe also aspects, maybe places on the sky. For example, recently I talked about the myth of Marduk and Tiamat. Marduk and Tiamat. This is a myth, when Tiamat is this monster who wants to destroy the whole world and who is lurking in the depths of the infinite ocean below the earth. And sometimes it goes up with ferocity, and starts to destroy the whole world. So then Marduk is sent to destroy the destroyer of the world. And this myth, I saw one absolutely amazing chart where this myth plays out big time.
Can you describe it to us? How it also expressed in the life of this person?
This is basically, we must look at Jupiter and also at the position of Jupiter in the chart, which is Marduk. And we must look also at which constellations, which stars, which planets can reveal Tiamat. And when we see a chart when Jupiter, Marduk, is exactly conjunct with what is Tiamat, like a fixed star or a planet, then this is exactly the moment when Marduk pierces through the heart of the fierce Tiamat and kills when they are conjunct. But this must be conjunct in the degree, in the very, very degree, exact conjunction. Then this is the moment when Marduk kills Tiamat, the moment of the finality. The world is saved. But before that, there is a long story too. So what happens before that? And he gives him some advice and this and that. So again, there is a myth which is like a story, and we can see where exactly the person is. Or we can, the same also is about Hercules, Heracle in Greek, and the Hydra. This myth where Hercules kills the Hydra. This is one of the 12 exploits of Hercules. So this myth also can be seen on the sky, and I have seen charts about this. So this is basically what we will start with. We will start with Nergal and Ereshkigal, Venus and Mars, Aphrodite and Ares, and then we'll go in detail, and then we can also talk about some more myths if there is time, because this is for about around three plus hours. So we can say a lot of things there, and this is just the beginning. like every myth should be developed, should be seen on the sky, and how it corresponds to phenomena on the sky, and how is this related to the chart. So all this structure is just starting to develop. We have talked about, I think, at least maybe 5-10 myths in this respect. And
This
now we'll
webinar, this is in your course called Apollonian Astrology, wasn't it? If anyone is interested, one of the most amazing courses of astrology. You will not find this knowledge anywhere, and you see how it translates to your life. Are you born with Apollo Mercury? Are you born with Mercury who is Hermes? And what does it mean for you? You know, what phase is your Mercury in? Is it morning rising? Is it invisible? And that tells you a very different story for your life. And then we were looking at Hidna,
oh yeah,
the dark moon, and how which phase of the moon you are born. For example, I'm the moon phase called Leto, which is the mother. So for me, motherhood, children, and so the amazing course that Rumen did. It's 40-50 hours or something. I'll put the link below for it if people are interested, because they shouldn't miss that one, because that was the beginning of these incredible discoveries you are making from ancient astrology and mythology, and how they translate actually sometimes very literally in the life of a person, pretty much like the story unfolds.
absolutely, absolutely.
This is the question. This person who had the Jupiter Marduk right on the degree of whatever was represented by Tiamat, what did they do in their life? Or what did they?
Well, this depends. This depends where in the space this happens.
In house, what house?
What house, aspects of the other planets. But basically, if Jupiter is strong, this means victory of the light over the darkness, and this is very final victory. These are people who have very high ideals, and who live them, who live the doctrine of the high ideal, not just theory. Oh yeah, this is good. Yeah, Buddha said that, Jesus said that, very good. No. This is they are living this in their everyday life. So this is if this is in a very strong position, Jupiter, let's say MC.
Mm-hmm. They can change the world for good, to have some victory and help many people in some way with truth.
And there are some cases where the meeting between the the god or the goddess and the monster is not so one-sided. It may be controversial. It may be even with not a very like, how to say, like easy battle. It may be very difficult battle in some charts. In some charts, the chances of victory can be very small. In
I'll be very
some
curious for us to look at Julian Assange chart, who is fighting for truth. Maybe something with his Jupiter is happening there, and maybe you can tell us another time how this myth, does it look like he's gonna win, or does it look like the monster will swallow him?
We will look at this. Yes. Yeah, I will. You can send me if you know his chart from some credible source. Send the data, and yeah, this is just the beginning of this whole process of synthesis of all ancient knowledge around astrology, which will be symbolism, which will be mythology, which will be magic, which will be art. Actually, I'm doing this synthesis also with the art, with these jewelries, with ancient coins, ancient Greek coins, where you can see all symbols and even different mythological scenes, um, and all divinities and principles and what they are connected to, and everything is one, made a whole.
If anyone
So we
wants to
can.
see that video, I'll connect it. Rumen did a video, an interview, and explained so beautifully. I'll put a link below where he talks about the art and jewelry and images and how you can invoke in your life the power of certain divinities through the images they represent. I'll link it there. He's also creating the art and jewelry himself. Whoever is interested to see, it's a free video. We did a month ago. But
Yes.
I think like you're making history right now. I think I'm getting goosebumps because this is new, or maybe renewed ancient astrology in new form for the modern life. And I don't think this has ever been done before. I'm sure. I mean, there are astrologers that use mythology, but they use it very simplistically. They assign asteroids to the divinities instead of looking for them in the normal chart, and it's what you're doing is taking elements of the chart and how to combine them, and how, because as you said, Tiamat is not a planet, it's different stars, it's different spaces from the sky, different parts of constellations, or even a planet it might be, but it's like archetypes where you can discover them in the chart, the darkness archetypes, the light archetypes, where to find them, which planet, which sign, and so on. So this is very, very different look at astrology. Extremely, this is a different astrology for me. It's a new type of divination, a new ancient type.
Yes, absolutely. This is something new. And yes, there are astrologers even from many, many years ago who try to connect mythology with astrology. But what is lacking there is the real sky. They don't know the real sky. They don't know exactly the heliacal phases and everything on the observable sky. So they worked with a limited knowledge. Like most of them, of course, took only like aspects of planets in different tropical signs, and then aspects in this is okay. But these people, and there are such astrologers now too, who try to make connections between myths and astrology. um, I applaud this, and I will just give them the idea that they can be much more successful in this when they look at the real sky and when they apply the knowledge of the heliacal phenomena and the stars and the constellations and all these things. When they add this to the analysis, then it will be much richer, much richer. So they are doing fine job, and this has field to develop. So this is the basic things about this new series of webinars that I'm planning, of absolutely new research and correlating myths with astrology, with charts, with art, with symbols, with constellations, with psychology, even with psychology.
I'm there. Thank you so much, Rumen. Probably the brightest, one of the brightest lights in astrology and esoteric knowledge in the current times we're living. There will be legends about him in the future. I'm sure there are already legends about Rumen Kolev now while he's still with us. But you have a rare chance to learn from the master and to pick his brain. So thank you so much, Rumen, again. I'll put a link below to your video, previous interview we've done, to the course that you already did, the Babylonian astrology, with the myths about, quite a few myths about dark and light, where to find, if you're born under darkness and under light, which part of you will predominate. I had a lot of monsters in my horoscope, and the battle is real. But it was absolutely fascinating. Thank you again. And whoever wants to join us or to have a personal reading with Rumen, I'll put the link below as well to contact him, because he can look at your horoscope with this incredible knowledge he has, which is like no horoscope you have ever received. Thank you again.
Thank you, Lada, for this opportunity, and I wish good luck for everybody who is watching this video.